I don't want to hear about it anymore. It's a shame I've got to live without you anymore. There's a fire in my heart, pounding in my brains, driving me crazy. Truth, logic, common sense, that good feeling, and yes, even a little psychoanalysis, as we are once again together, you and I, to discuss Chad and Lori Daybell. Well, it's Friday finally, is it not? And I guess I had to sing that, although I'm not a very good singer, to kind of remind us of the word crazy, right? You think Lori is crazy? Or do you think she's damn well diabolically evil? Yeah, I know. That's a little emphasis there from old KJ. But according to Archie, according to him, she has several mental health issues. And does it really surprise us? You know, I put on the community wall, I said, Lori has come out and she has said that she ain't got to worry about having any mental health defense in the guilt phase of the trial. Archie says that she thinks she's going to, she's just going to walk free. She's not going to be convicted of anything. She's just going to walk right out the door there. And what the hell? What is going to happen if that was to happen, huh? Well, she's gonna, okay, I wasn't found guilty. I'll see y'all later. And she walks out the courthouse, walks down the stairs, walks down the sidewalk to a waiting car. And then, of course, she has to go by the place where her children's bodies are sitting in a damn freezer and pick them up on the way out of town. Give me a break. It'll never happen. I put that post on the community wall. She doesn't think she's going to be found guilty. Archie says what he does. But I guess we could all sum it up. I love y'all's comments. I do. I read every damn one of them. And if you really want to know the truth, because I can't think of everything, whether I agree, disagree, whether I move from your comment to some road of discovery where I can analyze or research something, your thoughts, your perspective goes through this old country girl's mind. So just know that KJ's here to tell you of a particular comment from a Barbara Riley. She commented on this news on the community wall, and it sums it up really, ultimately, saying, here comes the paper blizzard. There will be many more before the trial. And Barbara, you are correct. There is one thing after another that's going to drop into that court portal. Some of it, there's sealed stuff and this and that. But we're going to try to put together a few things, and we're going to try to cover what we can. I've always tried to put those pieces into place as best as I know how. And of course, I don't have all the answers, y'all. All I can do is give my perspective and hope you will share yours with me, okay? But I want to go over something that I find two things actually that was on the court portal. And this first thing that I want to go over is from the state. It's a response to the defendant's supplemental discovery. And the reason I want to go over this is because I got up today and I was looking through YouTube, and I always look and see what Cresha K. Easton has to say. She's got the channel Difficult Research, and she had put on her community wall this news, and I was like, fascinating, really. So I went, I looked on the court portal, and I went through it, and I looked down it, and some things just kind of popped out to me. And, mostly it's common sense, but it doesn't hurt for old KJ to air it out and share it with all the rays on here. It says, comes now the state of Idaho, and pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 16, hereby responds to the defendant Lori Vallow Daybell's supplemental discovery request dated January 23 of 2023 as follows. And what that original motion was from Lori and Archie there was that they wanted some specificity on some discovery. And of course, the state had to respond to this. And it says the discovery that Lori and Archie and them wanted was any and all audio or video taken from the doorbell camera or other surveillance systems taken from apartments facing Lori Daybell and Melanie Boudreaux's apartment at 565 Pioneer Road, apartment 175, and apartment 174 for the month of September of 2019. Now, this is where it gets a little choppy, but it gets very interesting. And I can see the forest through the trees. The defense, Archie's saying, we can acknowledge the discovery of Ring doorbell camera footage for October, November, and December of 2019, which was provided in an August 9, 2021 discovery response under Addendum A, Folder 4, but is in possession of only one video in September of 2019. That video was taken on September the 19th of 2019, and we request all videos, all of them, anything that the state has for September of 2019 of the previously mentioned Ring video camera, okay? Now, this tells us, and this clues us in, that this Ring doorbell, the one, and I am assuming, y'all, don't quote me on this, but it's common sense, the discovery of the September 19, 2019 video Ring doorbell footage was of JJ out in the courtyard. That's what I think it is. But they're saying that they've also received some video for October, November, and December. And so I got to thinking, I'm like, wonder what all's on that. You know, wonder what went on. And who, pray tell, could be on those images on that Ring doorbell. So we're going to kind of explore that here in a minute. But I want to make it clear that the defense is telling everyone, basically, that they do have this Ring doorbell footage for October, November, and December, but they only have one video for one date on the 19th of September of 2019, and they want more. And the response from the state kind of gives us even more of a clue to their asking of this by saying all audio and video surveillance at 565 Pioneer Road apartments in the possession of the state has previously been disclosed to the defense. In other words, the state's saying, okay, Archie, you're laying out here, this is what we've given you, and we're telling you there isn't anything else. Quite curious, and we'll explore that. Number 2, any and all video evidence seized in conjunction with any doorbell camera at 565 Pioneer Road, regardless of the apartment number for the month of September of 2019. And the state's response was the same thing. Hey, all audio and video surveillance at 565 Pioneer Road apartments in the possession of the state has previously been disclosed to the defense. So again, remember when we talked about it, we said, what if there are other Ring doorbells? Wonder if there's other, and we even explored, maybe there was surveillance at the apartment complex, and when I went to Idaho, we looked. I went back and looked in the video of us going back down through there where the garages were and all of that. And we saw no video surveillance from the apartment complex company. And I didn't see any private video cameras anywhere. And actually, I never got close enough to see any Ring doorbells. But again, this goes back to what the defense has said. Y'all gave us stuff for October, November, and December. And we don't know what that is. And then September 19th of 2019, I'm guessing, was JJ out in the courtyard. And why would the state only have that one video of that one day in September? It's very curious, is it not? What could this video doorbell tell anyone in a trial? So I got to looking at it and I thought, well, let's go back. Let's look at these cast of cult characters and see, what we can find. So I'm asking all of y'all to really think and put in the comments things that I might miss. So when Archie talks about, hey, state, you gave us stuff for October of 2019. And I thought, well, what possibly could they have captured on video surveillance of the Ring doorbell there in October? And this is just a list. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's what I come up with anyway. Movements of individuals involved in the attempt on Brandon's life. If y'all remember October 2nd, Brandon was shot at. We know he was in Arizona, but you got to understand that there had to have been movement by Lori. Chad could have came over to her apartment that day. They could have went in. You could see it on the Ring doorbell. He went in on October 2nd, and they left because Lori, she needed Chad. She needed him to help her move a Jeep seat and tire. Y'all think about that. If that's on that Ring doorbell, it is just as clear as crystal as the Ring doorbell of JJ out in the courtyard. You and I both know apartment 174 and 175 was busy just about the whole time that they rented those apartments, including Miss Melanie Pulowski. And then in the month of October of 2019, if you're thinking about it, and you're thinking the Ring doorbell facing Lori and Melanie P's apartment, it's very interesting, is it not? How about October the 9th? October the 9th, when Tammy was shot at, you got to wonder, was Alex over there with Lori, coming out of there, getting ready to go over there and shoot at Tammy Daybell? What about the day before that, when there's pictures of ammo on Lori's phone? Could they see that they came back from somewhere with a bag in their hand on October 9th of 2019? And after the failed attempt on Tammy, what if, and I know this is being facetious, but Alex came back and Lori met him at the door, and she's madder than hell that Alex didn't take Tammy out. And you don't know, and I don't know, when Chad and Tammy was in the house and Tammy called the police on October 9th to have them come out because of a so-called paintball gun prank there, whether maybe Chad could have slipped away later that evening, October 9th, to kind of calm Lori down, that Viola just ain't out of the body yet, Lori. It's so hard to get that out of there. Alex, the protector, Lori, the one that's destined to help us rid Tammy of this Viola. Give me a break. And then obviously that goes to October the 19th. Again, think about it. A Ring doorbell that's facing Lori and Melanie P's apartments. What kind of activity are we talking about here? What time did Alex leave to go out to sit in that church parking lot? Did Chad come over earlier in the evening? Before Tammy got off work? Was he over there huddled with Lori, getting his so-called, stroked by Lori before he had to be home so he could get ready for that coughing spell that he tells everyone about? The fact that he couldn't get Tammy to go to the doctor. She didn't like doctors, and she went to bed with a cough. Give me a break, y'all. Think about that Ring doorbell late in the evening. If in fact some who think it was just Alex, which I don't believe, I believe it was Chad all the way that murdered her, I think Alex was just in the parking lot down there, just waiting for Chad to come meet up with him after she was dead. That's what I think, just to say, hey, I got it done or whatever. You got to wonder why Alex was sitting in that parking lot at the church the night of her murder. And then, of course, you got to look at the activity after Tammy dies. From October 19th all the way up to November, was Chad over there, jumping up and down with Lori, or her jumping up and down on his lap, if you know what I mean. In and out, in and out, in and out. You just don't know about these things, but I'll tell you something. The state of Idaho has turned over discovery saying that they have footage of a Ring doorbell that faces Lori and Melanie P's apartments on those pivotal days, y'all. You gotta know it. Then we get to the month of November. Well, I guess some things probably pop up in your head when it comes to November. Obviously, the last day of October, which is Halloween. I don't know if she made it in there to Idaho overnight on the 31st or whether she got in on the 1st. But if you want to look at it from October 31st to the 1st, Lori's sweet niece Melanie P has come over and to move in next door to Lori. And there's a little bit of activity going on there because she's moving in all her stuff, don't you know? And Melanie P says she was so busy moving in one of her interviews, when asked difficult questions on, well, you didn't see the kids? Most of the time people talk about their kids. Why didn't you see them? And Melanie P's like, well, I was just getting my home ready, my little nest ready for my children. I was so busy, and Lori's her own person, and I didn't want to bother her. But then again, does Melanie P say that Alex and her hung out a lot? What if it shows Melanie P over walking into Lori's door every damn day of November, which would blow her bullshit story out of the water that she didn't have much to do with Lori? Or vice versa, Alex is walking from, whether it's his vacant apartment, which, by the way, that will prove right there that Alex Cox never lived in that 171. It's going to prove in that Ring doorbell that that's where he lived. He lived with his sleazy, hussy sister. But what if it shows Alex leaving out of Lori's and going over at Melanie P's and hanging out with her? As Melanie P says, he was such a great friend and everything. And then, of course, the welfare check activity in November. You're going to see, it should at least show it at trial, when the police came. I mean, should they only have to have the body cams of Lori coming to the door, lying through her damn teeth to the police about being married to Chad, whether JJ was at the movies, Frozen, with Melanie Gibb? What in the heck is going on when the police leave there, huh? You think Melanie P is running over to Lori? What's going on, Lori? We gotta hide this stuff, says Lori. Whatever. There was some major activity going on the day of the welfare check after the police left. It's going to show quite clearly that the police walked upon Chad Daybell and Alex there. It's going to show these people on the evening after the police left, just as the neighbors can confirm that Lori and Alex is throwing shit in the back of Alex's truck and hauling ass out of there. It's going to be quite clear that it wasn't a planned move. I mean, a juror only has to use their common sense. And then, of course, the big question that Melanie Gibb and Melanie P doesn't really want to answer is, how many times did Chad visit his prostitute, his concubine? It's going to show in the month of October and November all the times that Chad showed up over at Lori's to get him a piece of ass. I mean, it's just as clear as crystal. And I'll tell you something. When that Ring doorbell shows different or more that Chad was there than Melanie Gibb and David Warwick states, I hope that second grand jury does something with whatever's been done there for all these cult members. And then, of course, you've got the last month of December, which, if you really think about it, everybody's already scattered after the police came looking for the children. They scattered like cockroaches that they are. But, you know, if you've got to know that Melanie Pulaski would also have, when the welfare check happened, her and Ian, if y'all recall, Ian said Melanie P came over when the police came the day after the welfare check. It's going to show on the Ring doorbell them going in there with the search warrants. They're also, I mean, it's going to show that. It's not going to show Alex's apartment, only the facing of Melanie Pulaski and Lori's apartments. But Ian said that he went over there to see what all damage had been done. And when Melanie P. in her little interviews that she gave, where she doesn't know shit, and her Aunt Lori's a wonderful aunt, wouldn't do anything to the kids, you and I both are going to see just how much Melanie Pulaski knew. And you can be damn sure we've all theorized and hypothesized that Melanie P. knew those children were dead. Her movements coming in and out of her apartment or into Lori's for all those months are going to be crystal clear. But the most crystal clear thing of all that we need to look at on the Ring doorbell facing Lori and Melanie Pulaski's is that the state, according to Archibald, has only given them in discovery one video of one day, which is September 19th of 2019. And that's a few days before JJ is murdered, but it's of a week or so after Tylee is dead. And why is there not a Ring? Why couldn't the state get the Ring doorbell facing Melanie P. and Lori's during the time that Tylee was, when they came back from Yellowstone and Tylee was murdered? That does not sit right with me. Yes, we know there's GPS that's listed in the probable cause affidavit of Detective Ron Ball that talks about Alex's movements overnight and all the GPS. It's just incredible to me that the state, they say to Archie they have nothing else to give them. They give them everything. That is very interesting to me. Why there isn't any Ring doorbell on September 8th or 9th or any other day in September except for the 19th, which of course includes September 22nd and 23rd. That again, that clues me in. Archie cannot put in a formal document that he acknowledges what the state has given him in terms of the Ring doorbell on the months and the dates and leave anything out. That's why he's asking for everything in September. That's why he wants what he wants. But the state tells Archie in the response, that's all we have. And that's disheartening because we all hoped that somehow there would be Ring doorbell of the night of Tylee being murdered and JJ being murdered on the 22nd and 23rd. So that's something that we need to keep in mind when it comes to the trial, that there will be things that we don't know in those months that's going to be able to show circumstantial evidence of the movements of Lori, Alex, and Chad. All of these things that I wasn't thinking about anyway. Because this document has come out, it made me realize it. Again, y'all, think about those months. Think about the pivotal month of September and know that you've only got one day there. And think about the other months and just wonder what the state held on to in October, November, and December. Put it in the comments, something that I've missed. Now, I also want to go over this before I close, and that is response to requests for discovery. And listen to me, y'all. This is going to probably piss you off. It pisses me off too. But this again is from Archibald, Lori's attorney. And it says response to the request for discovery. And this goes back to what we were discussing before about Lori's alibi and no times and dates. And the state wants specificity, and the state wants to know these other details like expert witnesses. And also the state, in another video that I posted, talked about we're going to have a hearing, and it's been confirmed on the 9th here in February that the state is going to say, we want this motion in limine where they cannot bring up anything at any time. We're not just talking about the guilt phase, but in sentencing of Lori's mental health issues, right? So you take all those things combined, and it says to Lindsay Blake Rob Wood, please take notice that counsel for Lori Noreen Vallow, hereinafter referred to as Lori Daybell, James Archibald and John Thomas hereby respond to the state's request for discovery and demand for notice of intent to rely upon the defense alibi. And the state asked Archie for these things, and Archie is going to respond to it. Now listen to me, you're going to find out something very interesting that I don't think most people are focused in on, but it blew my freaking mind. The request from the state, books, papers, documents, photographs, tangible objects, or portions thereof. The state is asking Archibald, all right, according to this alibi and according to these experts and things, we want this information. We deserve it. We have a right to it. And Archibald's response is, the defendant, Lori, intends to admit as exhibits various photographs, papers, and documents. These items will be listed on an exhibit list and will be provided to the state upon completion. All of the photos and documents and papers have come from discovery items turned over to the defense by the state. So first and foremost, another clue, there's nothing outside of what the state has gathered as discovery. There's nothing on Archie's side. Lori's not going to say, Archie, I need you to get in touch with Sammy. She's got some pictures and documents that the state don't have. I need you to get those for me. That's not going to happen. Archie is confirming that when he received discovery from the state, he picked out some photographs, papers, and documents from the state's discovery that they're going to give to the state on an exhibit list to let them know what they're going to use, okay? So that answers that question. But here's another question. What the hell? What is she going to show? Is she going to show pictures of her children alive and well? And that she was in her apartment and that's what they looked like before they just wasn't there anymore? What kind of defense can Archie get out of showing photographs? Because you know and I know that Archie's definitely not going to be showing photographs of those children's dead bodies as a defense. It's just not going to happen. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here to mommy. Y'all, this is Boogie. He'll probably be doing a little meowing a little bit, but you'll just have to deal with him. He's spoiled. Okay, anyway, I apologize for the interruption. Okay, so the next request that the state has asked for from Archie, reports of examinations and tests. And Archie's response is, no reports of physical, mental, or scientific tests are anticipated to be used in the guilt phase of the trial. So if anyone thinks that the defense is going to throw out there any mental health examination results, physical, scientific tests, or anything like that, he's letting the state know in legal documentation that that's not going to happen. But he says, should the defendant be convicted of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft, or conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as outlined in the indictment, the defense will revisit the issue for the punishment phase of the trial. And so this is another issue that's going to have to be ironed out, and I believe some of it's going to be ironed out on the 9th when the state filed that motion in limine about mental health. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But what I'm trying to say in all of this is that Archie's letting the state know legally that they're not going to have anything in their defense that in the guilt phase at all. There's just not going to be nothing there that they're going to be using. And of course that lines up when they had the notice of not wanting to seek the mental health defense, right? Request 3 from the state is saying, hey Archie, we want to know who your defense witnesses are. And Archie says the defense intends to call the following witnesses, all right? He says any and all witnesses listed on the state witness list. And many of us know what the state witness list, what's on it, all the people. The defense is saying any and all of them. But let's just be clear. He's letting the state know we're only sticking to this witness list. But he's not letting the state know which ones he might call. Or if he's going to call any of them. He's just keeping that option open. Any and all witnesses listed on co-defendant Chad Daybell's witness list. So if Chad Daybell has his own witness list that he's turned over to the state, which by the way we knew in the last video, it was confirmed that John Pryor sent through Odyssey Services not only Chad Daybell's alibi, but Chad Daybell's witnesses. So Archie wants to include them too. Not that he's going to call any of them, but he wants that option there. But this is what I want to make clear to y'all, that Archie has kept this option open. And, you know, it's really interesting, really, because he has said this. And usually a defense attorney won't say this. But in this case, this is what pisses me off. You ready? The defendant, Lori Daybell, may testify at trial. There it is, y'all. We all theorized about it. I guarantee y'all, if this goes to trial, Lori Daybell, I said it before and I'll say it again, she's going on the stand. And I'm going to tell you what, the hair on the back of my neck is standing straight up. What the hell could this woman say? I mean, really? But Archie's saying it right there in his document. The defendant may testify at trial. He's left that door open. And you and I both know this cheerleading pageant woman from hell would do anything to get her damn ringlets and her damn ponytail like a unicorn and her freaking Kool-Aid lipstick and her damn makeup 3 inches thick on her face and jump up and down like a damn whore. She would do it, y'all. You and I both know she'll do it. If she even considers the fact where she's at, and I really believe it. I believe she really knows she's going down. But she's given this whole view that she doesn't think she's going to get convicted and that she's going to walk. You can be sure, y'all, she's going to go out like a blaze of glory. And I'll tell you something about a blaze of glory. A blaze of glory isn't going to happen for Lori, but a blaze is eventually. That woman's going straight to hell as far as I'm concerned. If and when this response shall change, it shall be supplemented at a reasonable time before trial. The names and addresses of each witness are in the possession of the state at this time. So Archie has made it clear. We'll either call, we're letting you know, state, when you ask us for witnesses, it'll either be someone from the state's witness list, it'll either be on Chad Daybell's witness list, or it'll be Lori testifying. Y'all, I'm telling you what, this trial is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. The state also asks the intent of Lori and their defense, their intent to rely on the alibi. And this is what John not John Pryor, but Archie is saying in terms of the state wanting to know her intent on relying on that alibi. And the fact that the state has said we do not see any specific times or dates. This is general and broad. And Archie's response is, the defendant, Lori Daybell, was in her apartment 175 at 565 Pioneer Road, Rexburg, Idaho, when J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan died in the apartment of Alex Cox, apartment 107. Defendant Lori Daybell was with Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, and or Chad Daybell. The addresses of the witnesses are known to the state as Melanie Gibb and David Warwick are both on the state's witness list. Chad Daybell is in the Fremont County Jail. Lori Daybell was in Kauai, Hawaii when Tammy Daybell died in the home of Chad and Tammy Daybell. Lori Daybell was with Melanie Pulowski and Audrey Baratello. Miss Pulowski and Miss Baratello's addresses are known to the state and are both on the state witness list. So he's letting them know that when the state is asking, hey, is this it? Is this all you're going to do? He just repeats what he said in the notice of alibi. In other words, Archie's saying, I'm not giving you any more information, right? But that's okay. The state would like clarification on the times and dates there. Just as John Pryor and Archie both wanted a bill of particulars to narrow down and get more specific about the indictment for conspiracy and all of that, the death penalty case. They wanted more specificity other than what the overt acts in the indictment said. The state said it wasn't having to provide a bill of particulars, and the state wants some particulars and intent on Lori's alibi. Archie's not going to give it, but that's okay again, because the state has the evidence to plug it all in. Plug it in, plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in, and Lori, she is going down. Now, the next request that the state asked for was expert witnesses. Okay, and you got to remember that the state has already filed this motion in limine talking about we don't need to hear anything about Lori being mentally ill because she's not going for a mental illness defense. And Archie says the defense does not intend to call any expert witness at the guilt phase of the trial. Should the defendant be convicted, as outlined in the indictment, the defense will call Mark Cunningham and Dale Watson to testify. And he's talking about in the penalty phase, because he says he's not going to call these two in the guilt phase. He's going to, if she gets convicted, these two, and I'm assuming, and this is common sense, these two guys are psychologists, y'all. I think they're the ones that the defense brought in before she, remember the second time, she was all 10 months in the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, and then a few months later, they took that another break there, and the psychologist met with her. And we also know through Justin Lum, he said that she saw a total of 4 different doctors or I guess psychiatrists or psychologists, and they say there are varying types of mental illness. As many of y'all commented on the community wall when I shared this news, she knew right from wrong. There are a lot of mentally ill people in this world. Hell, I know I've got a little bit of chronic depression and seasonal depression, and God only knows what else hasn't been diagnosed. But, that doesn't make me want to go out here and murder people, right? And so there it is. But then the state asked for facts and data, articles, etc., that experts rely on for their conclusions about Lori's her varying mental illness, right? So Archie says experts witnesses have been told to generate a response to this request. And so, and as soon as they generate that response, it will be given to the state. And he says that for A, B, C, and D, those were 4 reports. He's letting them know this will not be brought into the guilt phase, but only the penalty phase. And then the defendant does not intend to raise mental condition as a defense. At the guilt phase of the trial, the defendant objects. Now, Lori objects to the request to depose any expert witness for purposes of punishment phase of the trial unless and until the defendant is found guilty of first-degree murder. In other words, what he's saying is hey, the trial itself, and the expert is only going to be in the penalty phase, but state, we're not going to give y'all a chance to depose them now because Lori doesn't think she's going to even be convicted and she's going to walk. That's what Lori thinks. So she objects to it until she is found guilty, which she doesn't think she's going to. Then you can depose them. Oh, Boogie, shush. At the time, the defense will revisit the idea of deposing the expert should the court find it necessary. And so there you go. This stuff is going to go on, and there are going to be times that I shoot these recordings that I'm just going to get into these motions and these objections and whatever's being ordered or filed that's on public record. This will go on until April. Just as it was said that there's going to be a storm, it's going to be a windstorm of different filings that are going to be going on. What's interesting about it all, y'all, is Archie has made it very clear that Lori, the option of Lori testifying is on the table. And you just know, and I know that if, she's not got a snowball's chance in hell of getting out of all this, and after everything's done, before the defense rests, and they see that her goose is cooked, she'll go on that stand, y'all. And if she will go on that stand, I guarantee you, Chad Daybell will go on the stand. Because you think about it like this, okay? It'll either be one or the other. Either Chad will go on the stand and it'll make Lori's team and Lori think they need to go on the stand, or vice versa. Because if the jury sees only one of them go on the stand and the other one just doesn't go on the stand at all, that doesn't look good. So if only one of them decide to go on the stand, both of them will go on the stand. You can be sure, you mark me on it, y'all, they are going on the stand if this trial goes through. You better believe it. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I'll get back with you if any other news comes out. I'll do my best to get with you. Please put in the comments of those dates and the months of 2019. Put that in the comments because I can't think of everything. I need your help, Rays, and keep on looking.